Coming to you from an undisclosed location, somewhere deep in the heart of the Santa Monica Mountains, I am your intrepid host, L.A. Marzulli. I just appeared a little while ago, a couple of days ago, on the Eric Metaxas show, and I want to show you that interview. I think you'll find it interesting. Always great to be on a show with Eric. He's a great interviewer, even though he interrupts me endlessly, but it's all good. I love being on his show, and I just love getting his take on things. So we'll get into that. First, a word from our very trusted sponsor. In a recent clinical trial this year, a woman who took 2.5 grams of collagen peptides daily for 8 weeks saw an average of 25% reduction in eye wrinkle depth, a 9% improvement in skin elasticity, and a 29% look in skin hydration, proving collagen can visibly strengthen and rejuvenate skin from within. That is why I use today's sponsor, BioTrust Ageless Multi-Collagen. Folks, I use it every single day. I put it in my second cup of coffee, which is really cold out of the refrigerator, mix it up really well, and I absolutely love it. BioTrust Ageless Multi-Collagen helps supercharge my skin health using 5 premium types of collagen needed to help reduce wrinkles. I've noticed smoother skin, more elasticity, more hydration, fewer fine lines, and a youthful glow. Plus, it also helps improve my joint health, bone strength, and connective tissues on top of my skin. For a limited time, you can grab a bag of BioTrust Ageless Multi-Collagen for 51% off at www.healthwithla.com. Plus, you'll also receive free VIP live health and fitness coaching for life, a free ebook titled The 14 Foods for Amazing Skin, a 60-day satisfaction guarantee, and free express shipping with your order. Once again, please go www.healthwithla.com, healthwithla.com. I want to tell you something. Since I've been taking BioTrust Ageless Multi-Collagen, and I've been doing it every day, folks, and I have noticed, I'm not making this up, I have noticed that the creepy skin under my arms and the backside of my forearm and upper arm, the lines have really decreased. It's working. So once again, www.healthwithla.com. Thank you. Check it out. Okay, folks. So here's the interview I did on the Eric Metaxas show. Always great to be on his show, and it's an honor for me. I think you'll find the interview interesting. Here it is.
What am I talking about? Well, if you've been listening to me for a while, you know I had on L.A. Marzulli a couple of times. Whenever I talk to him, it's a little bit next level, to use a cliche. I'm always looking for a cliche. That's the cliche. It's next level. L.A. Marzulli, author, super genius, author of most recently a book called Rungs of Disclosure. Rungs of Disclosure. L.A., welcome back.
Hey, Eric, thanks for having me here. Great to be here.
Last time you were here, you were showing my audience the extraordinary facsimile of a skull of what you claimed was a Nephilim. And I think you may have that skull right there. Do you have any sports memorabilia? I'm much more interested in that. Maybe like a Carl Yastrzemski signed baseball, something.
I know I have a Babe Ruth original baseball. Wouldn't
Oh, okay. Right. I have Babe Ruth's rookie skull in a box. I can't show it to you right now, but it's really scary. It's really scary. You and I, folks who don't know you, it's a little bit hard to sum you up. You've written many books. You write about things having to do with the occult, with the Nephilim, with aliens or UFOs or whatever they call them last week. And the last time you were on the program, we were talking about Sasquatch. Some people say Bigfoot. It's stuff that's endlessly fascinating, but I think a lot of times people get frustrated because we never seem to get to the bottom of it, or, you never find a Sasquatch carcass or anything like that. And so, but with you, I feel like I do get someplace, which is why it's fun to talk to you. So the new book, which I read, I guess a year ago, Rungs of Disclosure, really fascinating stuff. But there's been some stuff in the news lately What do you want to talk about that touches on any of this stuff?
Well, I think one of the biggest news items is the Three Eye Atlas thing. Is it a comet? Is it something?
Wait, the what? The what?
Three Eye Atlas, and I've
See, you're one of the. I just want to say to my audience, folks, this is why I love people like L.A. Marzulli. Hugh Ross is another example. They just talk like everybody knows what they're talking about, and it's my job on behalf of my audience to say, excuse me, nobody knows what you just said. Can you please break it down for the people that never heard of that term? So, what was the term you just used?
It's Three Eye Atlas, and Avi Loeb, who is a Harvard professor, an astronomer, it's third interstellar object. Now, and I get that, but names have meaning. And when this thing came out, a month and a half ago, and they started talking about Three Eye Atlas, I said, well, let's walk through it. Atlas is a Nephilim. There's no doubt about that.
Okay,
Atlas.
hold on. I still got to slow you down. I'm so sorry.
No, don't do it. Let me get to the
Atlas is a Nephilim. That's kind of a meaningless statement to me. What are you talking about when you're Atlas? Most people think of as an ancient Greek, this exogical figure who's holding up the world, one of these demigods.
Right.
You're saying somehow there's an actual Atlas.
Well, I'm saying that they're portraying Three Eye Atlas. Why name it Atlas? Atlas is holding the world on his shoulder, like you just explained. So are they signaling to us that it's a global event? Three Eye could be.
Listen,
just conjecture.
LA, I'm not kidding. I still have no idea what you're talking about. What is Three Eye Atlas?
I'll get there. They named this comet.
Comet. Stop. Now we got someplace. Okay.
They named this comet, or what they think might be a comet, but then again, it might not be. And I'll get to that in a second. They named it Three Eye Atlas. Atlas, Greek demigod holding the world on his shoulders. So are they signaling to us, this is conjecture, that this is a global event? Is that, I don't know.
Who's that?
That remains to be seen. And now here's the kicker. Three Eye, third eye, are they signaling that this is some sort of an enlightenment, a global enlightenment? Now bring in Avi Loeb. Avi Loeb has been stating this for weeks now, that this comet or whatever it is has some very peculiar attributes to it, like the jets that come out of it. It goes from green to blue and then back again. But he's saying, and he's been on all media, Eric, all media.
Evidently, I haven't been watching all media because I know nothing about. That's why I have you on, and the people that love you are going to be making comments in YouTube. Eric, shut up and let LA talk. Forgive me, folks. I'm just trying to make sense of this because I've not heard any of this. Okay. This is all new to dimwit Eric. Go ahead.
You're not a dimwit, please. You're a lot smarter than I am. So here's the deal. Avi Loeb is on all media, News Nation, Fox News, everywhere. And he's saying that this comet could be, his words, not mine, a black swan event. So what's a black swan event? A black swan event is an event that you don't prepare for. It comes out of the blue. And you go, oh my gosh, we should have prepared for this. But no one's preparing for it. What is he talking about? He's talking about, this is conjecture on his part, that this comet might be, his words, not mine, might be some sort of extraterrestrial craft.
Hey there, folks. As hard as it may be for us to believe, especially in America, there are people in other parts of the world who have literally been enslaved because of their faith in Jesus Christ. Some of them for decades. Hundreds of thousands of them have been persecuted and enslaved in the Sudan. Together, right now, we can literally buy their freedom and save the lives of some precious brothers and sisters, give them the joy and hope we celebrate so freely. For only $250, you can provide life-saving aid this Christmas. You can buy a believer's freedom and provide them with much-needed food, a goat, and other necessary goods for their survival. Brothers and sisters enslaved and fearing for their lives, just $250. Maybe you can get more. Maybe you can just give a portion of that. Every gift helps. Imagine buying the freedom of a fellow Christian believer. You can do it. Call 888-253-3522, 888-253-3522. Christian Solidarity International provides life-saving resources for persecuted Christians for almost 40 years, 888-253-3522, or go to ericmetaxas.com and click on the banner. You'll see it, ericmetaxas.com. Click on the banner. Please give someone the gift of getting their life back. Provide life and freedom for someone right now. God bless you. I mean, now that you mention it, I did hear something about this in the news. Now I realized, because you're giving the name to it, it's a comet, or they believe it's a comet. They've called it the 3-Eye Atlas comet, I guess. But here's the thing: and I know that there are no aliens. There are no creatures around the world. If it is anything like that, it's demonic.
Absolutely, all day long, all day long. And I mean, we can go down the demonic rabbit hole if you want to, but let's stick with this. Then Avi Loeb states this could be a Trojan horse event. So why is he peddling this type of?
Who's Avi Loeb?
Avi Loeb is a Harvard professor, brilliant guy, an astronomer. I mean, just brilliant, real smart guy. But all of a sudden, Avi Loeb is just raised up and he's everywhere in all media. And he's talking about a black swan event. And then he says, this could be a Trojan horse where we'll allow this thing to come in, and out of it will come hundreds of UFOs and surround the planet. His words, not mine. Now, this is
a Harvard professor claiming this. Now, I guess my question,
why
in the world would somebody make a conjecture? That is a wild, crazy conjecture. You've got to have a reason, some evidence or something. And it sounds like he doesn't. I mean, how could he possibly know?
Why would the Vatican state just a couple of weeks ago that if there are extraterrestrials and they show up, we will baptize them? I'm paraphrasing.
Wait a minute. You're not. This is why I love talking to you, ladies and gentlemen. Forgive me for interrupting, but LA, did you just say
yes
what I thought you said?
I said exactly what you thought I said. The Vatican has stated, we broke the story. My late business partner Richard Shaw and I, in our Watches series, we sat down with Chris Putman. He's the co-author of Exo Vaticana with Thomas Horn, that talked about, and this is old news to someone like me, but that if extraterrestrials show up, well, who are we to say limit God? So, I mean, why is Avi Loeb talking about a black swan event? And in tandem with him, the Vatican's talking about baptizing aliens? I mean, are we being set up for something? In my opinion, we are. And then, on top of this, you have Anna Paulina Luna. This is another rung on the ladder of disclosure. She's a congresswoman from Florida. So this is an elected official talking about on a talk show that these entities are interdimensional. And when she's pressed, well, what do you mean by interdimensional? She sort of dodges the question and moves on. And then you get whistleblowers who talk about the retrieved bodies, non-human biologics. This is all in Congress. So, you put that together and we are looking at something. Something's about to happen.
It's very creepy. Let's just be clear. It's creepy stuff. And LA and I, we both agree this is demonic. Now, I remember reading Hugh Ross many years ago. I don't know if you're familiar with Hugh Ross.
I am, yes. I know who
Hugh Ross. I was with him a couple of nights ago here in New York City. He was the one that alerted me in the early 90s that this UFO stuff is demonic. It's not aliens on other planets like Star Trek. No, it's demonic deception. It's very, very dark. And so I think there are a lot of people that are very confused about this. And then when you have the Vatican really stupidly, I mean, this is so ridiculous. They're just assuming like, oh no, they're going to be aliens and maybe, we can convert them or whatever. It's crazy stuff that they would even weigh in. Why would the Vatican, for God's sake, weigh in on something that is pure lunatic speculation?
See, you use those words, lunatic speculation. And with Avi Loeb, there's definitely speculation going on there. And I get that. But it's no longer fringe. When you've got people and whistleblowers in Congress talking about this, that's not fringe. These guys are risking everything coming forward, saying we have back-engineered craft, we have retrieved non-human biologic bodies. And then you've got Brett Baer. This aired last week. Now, you and I both know Brett Baer. This guy is stalwart. He's a stand-up guy. He's a straight shooter. There's never a hint of emotion. He's very analytical. I mean, he's like he's amazing, right? As an interviewer. He's interviewing the director of an up-and-coming film called Age of Disclosure. The director of that film interviewed 34 people, and people like Marco Rubio come on the record in this film and other people. And they are stating on the record that not only do we have retrieved craft and retrieved bodies, but that they have seen them. They have come face to face with live so-called aliens. Here's the deal.
Wait. Marco Rubio has, I mean, it's one thing to talk about a retrieved craft.
Right.
It's another thing to talk about a retrieved alien body.
Right.
You said live.
Yeah. One witness stated that he saw the craft move and he saw live so-called aliens, which are the Greys. Well, that's a 3-hour conversation. Look, this is really complex. It's the deep end of the pool. Let me tie it back into scripture. Why would Jesus warn us that it would be like the days of Noah when he returns? Everybody 2,000 years ago knows exactly what Jesus is talking about. There is no Sethite theory. That doesn't come in till Julius Africanus in the 4th century, when Augustine these spiritual or creates the spiritual idea, and angels don't procreate and all this. But Genesis 3:15 is the key to the biblical narrative, in my opinion. And we know that Jesus is in the garden and he says to the dragon, your seed, your offspring, will be at war with the woman. The proto-evangelion, the one coming from the woman, the Messiah, will crush your head, you'll bruise his heel. That's the entire Bible. 3 chapters later, what do we get? Genesis 6, the Nephilim are on the earth, the hybrid creatures. Why would Jesus, 2,000 years ago, point back to the days of Noah? Everyone knows exactly what he's talking about. Why? Josephus tells us that when Jesus was alive, the bones of the Nephilim were openly on display in Jerusalem. This is
Wait. So you always say these fascinating things, and I hit pause. You're saying in Josephus,
yes,
he refers,
yes,
this is 2,000 years ago, to
2,000
the
years.
bones of the Nephilim were
Yeah.
on display. That's in
display.
Josephus?
And yes, and the reason why they're on display is to show everybody who's coming up to the Temple Mount. They're not in the temple, but they're probably on some sort of a road that most people will see. They're openly on display to show the descendants of Israel, of the 12 tribes, what their forefathers had to fight to claim the land. That's why they're openly on display. And Josephus talks about it, that the Nephilim had countenances unlike any other men. So, I mean, it's there. And Jesus is saying it'll be like the days of Noah. So what's that? That's the Nephilim. That's the fallen angels coming down, messing with the genome. And you say, well, gee, where does this have to do? It has everything to do with what's going on now. With the whole abduction, when men and women are abducted, are taken, sperm from the men, ovum from the women. Brett Baer, once again, broke the story. It's in the rungs of disclosure. I forget what rung it is. But Brett Baer talks about that some women who are taken aboard UFOs, UAPs, find themselves pregnant. So you say, gee, what does this have to do with the Bible? Everything. Days of Noah. They're commingling the seed, just like it did thousands of years ago. Jesus warns us that men and women will faint from fear from what is coming upon the earth, not from underneath it, not from the earth, but what's coming upon the earth. That even the elect would be deceived. Paul adds to that the dragon, Satan, comes with all signs and lying wonders. And yet we snooze, and we don't think this is going to happen. We have been warned, and it's happening as we speak.
During the horrors of the Holocaust, Corrie ten Boom and her Dutch family, as told in her classic book, The Hiding Place, risked everything to shelter Jewish neighbors in their home. They were betrayed and sent to concentration camps, yet Corrie survived and went on to preach forgiveness and hope around the world. That same redemptive spirit lives on in Ten Boom Coffee. Working with Agro Cafe, an Israeli ag tech company, Ten Boom Coffee helps farmers around the world increase their harvests by 60%, improving both the quality of their beans and the quality of their lives. So every cup you pour becomes part of a legacy, one that stands for courage, kindness, and redemption. Visit tenboomcoffee.com. That's tenboomcoffee.com. Taste the goodness that changes lives. Use the code ERIC and save 10%. tenboomcoffee.com. Use the code ERIC.
You're just trying to freak me out. No, it's fascinating because to have people in Congress and others talking about this seriously, that is the next level. Like, we've not seen that. So you talk about moving the Overton window. Suddenly,
there's a reality here. I remember in the 70s, the whole UFO thing was big, close encounters, all this creepy stuff. But now we're talking about it as though it's a real thing. Now, what you just mentioned about who was it that said these are interdimensional? It was a congresswoman,
Anna Paulina Luna.
said that these are interdimensional.
Yeah.
Now, folks, you got to understand what that means. This is not just crazy talk. Interdimensional. If you're any kind of a Christian, you believe in angels and demons, and the Bible talks about things that are not in the material realm. They can manifest in the material realm, but they are not of this world. They're not within the space-time continuum. They're outside, and it's complicated, but the point is, it's also not complicated. We believe those things exist. So when somebody says these are interdimensional beings, they're spiritual beings. They are not simply from another planet far away, and they evolved out of the primordial soup in their galaxy, and now they're visiting us. No, we're talking about dark forces, and it seems always that they're dark forces. These are not they're not of God. They are enemies of God. But I guess, LA, why would, for people who don't know about this stuff, why would it be so Baroque? I mean, that they would appear in crafts, and that they would have, in other words, you think that why would a demonic entity need a spacecraft? I don't get it.
Well, I get that a lot. Let's turn to 2 Kings chapter 6. So Elisha the prophet, this is thousands of years ago. So Elijah the prophet is there with his servant Gehazi. And Gehazi's like totally freaked out. We're surrounded by the Syrian army. What are we going to do? So Elisha says, Lord, open his eyes, and shoos Gehazi out of the tent. And Gehazi goes out, and what does he see? What does he say? I looked up above the Syrian army, and what's there? Chariots of fire. So what is a chariot of fire? So let's go back thousands of years. There's no flying saucer, UFO, or anything else in the vernacular. You look up, you see a glowing object above the Syrian army that's glowing. It's above the Syrian army. So all you know is it's a vehicle. It's a chariot of fire. Welcome to the UFO phenomena thousands of years ago. See,
well, I'm not doubting that. I'm just questioning why would demonic entities need chariots? Why would they need spacecraft?
Two reasons. One, the bases may be under the oceans with these craft. The breeding program and the hybrids may be, this is conjecture, may be stationed underneath. But there's technology in the Bible. There's a book I'm writing, Supernatural Technology in the Bible. It's all through there. But we turn the page and we fail to see that there's supernatural technology all throughout the pages of the Bible.
Well, I mean, yeah, that concept is one with which I'm not familiar, and I think most people, when you think of an angel or demon, you don't think of them as
Genesis. Look at Genesis. Adam and Eve are booted out of the garden. The two cherubim are standing guarding the east gate. At the 3-hour conversation. Why only the east gate? But I digress. So the two cherubim are there. What's between the two cherubim? There's a flaming sword that turns every which way, and the cherubim are not wielding it. The sword is moving by itself. What is a flaming sword in modern day vernacular? Vroom, 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 vroom.
I think you're making a leap to lightsaber, but I'm going to allow it. As the judge of the program, I'm going to allow it.
Remember, they don't have in the vernacular lightsaber, but a flaming sword in modernity. Oh, that's a lightsaber.
Sorry, but a lightsaber is made up by George Lucas. It's not a real thing.
Or is he looking back to the Genesis 6 account? We don't know, right? Because that sword that turns every which way, right? A flaming sword that turns every which way. That is unbelievable. We have a very truncated view of the supernatural, and we don't understand. For instance, who the heck is building the New Jerusalem? That thing is 1,500 miles. I mean, just the engineering problems are alone that just stagger the imagination. How does that work? And you remember, it comes out of one realm into the other. How does that work? So there's technology that we don't know. So the fallen angels, this is a really tough question, and it's going to take a few minutes to set this thing up. Okay, fallen angels don't need craft, number one. They don't. They can pop in, they can pop out. All right, they can do that. I understand that. But when we get Daniel who prays This is one of the few places in the biblical prophetic narrative where we get a glimpse into the heavenly realm. Daniel prays, the prayer goes right to the throne room. An angel is dispatched, takes him 21 days to get to Daniel. That in itself is very unsettling. And the
that's one of those weird things. You think that makes no sense. Why would a spiritual entity need time? I mean, I would think that,
But here's the deal. He can't get through because the prince of Persia, who's obviously a fallen angel, can't let him through. So the good angel has to go get Michael and reinforcements, and they fight. The Bible doesn't tell us how they fight, but they fight. And somehow, just like in the book of Revelation, Michael and his angels fight with the devil and his angels. They're overcome and they're cast to earth. How are they overcome? Can they be wounded? Yeah, maybe. They can't be killed because they're immortal beings. So the angel gets through, which immediately begs the question, why can't the angel just do an end run? Why can't he go around the Prince of Persia? There's a gateway, there's a portal. And only through that portal can he go from one realm into another. That's unbelievable when we get that, okay? So demons, this is why it takes a while to set this up. Demons are the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim. The Nephilim are the progeny of fallen angels, human women. Genesis 3:15, mixing of a seed. Genesis 6, the Nephilim are on the earth and also afterwards in those days. So the Nephilim are the progeny of fallen angels, human women. In my opinion, they are soulless. Only God can give a soul. They have no soul, and they are in a fixed state. So the Nephilim are wiped out on the flood, first incursion. And it says from the book of Enoch, I get the book of Enoch's not part of our canon, but read it. And Jude quotes it. And you don't quote something unless it's part of your wheelhouse. So the demons become the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim. A demon is different than a fallen angel. A demon has to inhabit a person, an animal, or an object in order to manifest. So the dragon goes, right? And this is where it, for some people, they don't get it because they have a truncated view of the supernatural. The dragon, Satan, goes, I got all these demons running around here. I need to make an avatar so they can manifest. Those are what the grays are. How do I know that? I've talked to too many abductees. I've talked to eyewitnesses. The grays, they pop in, they pop out. They're the worker bees, as it were, and they're avatars. I've had abductees tell me that they're avatars. They're suits, biological suits, so the demon can inhabit that gray, that alien, so-called alien gray, and move around in this dimension.
Okay, now what I'm missing.
It sounds out there, but it's not.
I'm tracking, which shocks me to say, but I'm tracking. But when somebody casts a demon out of a person, that demon is not embodied. In other words, that person. You understand what I mean?
Completely. I totally get it.
So what's going on there? You have a demon that is not.
A demon can only inhabit a person, an animal, or an object to manifest in our dimension. I'll say it again. So the dragon, i.e. Satan, goes, all I need to do is create a biological avatar, and all of a sudden, demons can now get into this thing, and they can walk around the planet, which is what I believe, and all the abductees I've ever talked to, that's what the grays are. They're not, from some faraway planet. They are demonic. They are evil.
When you say the grays, again, because people that know you, they're familiar with your vocabulary and the world you're talking about. Are you talking about, we've seen pictures of those creepy, big-eyed, from Close Encounters of the Third Kind, I'm not really seeing it there, no.
Right there.
I don't.
Todd.
Do I see? Yeah, I don't know what I'm looking at. What am I? Oh, it's lying down.
Right.
That's so creepy.
Yeah, it's very creepy.
But you're saying that those alien images, the reason we keep hearing about them looking like that, like Whitley Strieber wrote about that, you're saying that the reason people are all seeing the same kinds of beings is because those are demons inhabiting something that has been created. I don't know who created those.
The dragon.
The dragon.
Pardon? The dragon. Satan created avatars. I mean, this is what I mean. We, as a church, we really think we have such a truncated view
You're right.
what's going on, and
Totally.
we need to expand. And folks, I get it. This is the deep end of the pool. The biblical prophetic narrative states this, and for those of you who are skeptical, and it's good to be skeptical, be a Berean, like Chuck Missler used to say. Go out and search the scriptures for yourself. Why is it that we are told that Satan comes with all signs and lying wonders? What does that mean to you and me? It's not, hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat. It's not that. It's all that even the elect would be deceived if that were possible. Satan comes with all signs and lying wonders. So something is coming which is unprecedented. And I believe, having been following this literally for decades, devoting my life to it to try to warn the church, this is a coming great deception. When they show up in mile-wide craft, and if you don't believe me, watch the 2024 Super Bowl commercial. Hello down there. That's predictive programming. And it shows mile-wide craft over all the cities of the world. So, I mean, we don't have time to get into all the particulars of that, but why make a commercial like that? And you don't even know what the commercial's for until the last 4 seconds. Squarespace, a website makes it real. Why are they doing this? And it's directed by Martin Scorsese. Hello? Is this predictive programming? Could be. In my wheelhouse all day long. All day long. Look, Congress is talking about it. So don't take my word. Google Anna Paulina Luna. The Google David Grush, where he says to Representative Nancy Mace on the record in Congress, that we have retrieved non-human biologics from crashed UFOs. What do you do with that? Well, as a Christian, as a Bible-believing Christian, this dovetails perfectly into the sayings of Jesus that we talked about in the beginning of the show. Men being for fearful what's coming upon the earth. There you go.
Folks, listen, if you've been injured in an accident or someone you love has been, this is something you really need to hear. I've been talking with the team over at Legal Help Center, and they're absolutely committed to helping people just like you understand your rights and figure out what your case may truly be worth. And here's what sets them apart. When you choose Legal Help Center, you're getting a free consultation, no upfront costs whatsoever, agents available 24/7, a connection with a qualified local attorney, and clear guidance so you actually understand your rights. In other words, they make the entire process simple, professional, and genuinely helpful. So here's what to do. Call 800-575-9120. That's 800-575-9120. Or go to LegalHelpCenter.com. Find out how much money you may qualify for. Don't wait. Don't try to go it alone. Certainly don't attempt to become your own lawyer. Let the professionals at Legal Help Center handle this for you. Legal Help Center, helping you know your rights and what your case is really worth.
Okay, LA, I know you only have a few minutes left, but what you talk about in your book, Rungs of Disclosure, and what you're talking about now is the idea. Now, people can find you at lamarzulli.com, lamarzulli.com. You're talking about, and this is a scary thing, a worldwide demonic deception.
Yeah.
In other words, something that most people would think like, oh, aliens are coming out of the sky. What is happening? They're aliens. You and I will know it's a demonic deception. Some people will know it's demonic deception. Most people will not. They don't have any context for this. So do you see this happening soon? For some reason, I'm getting the idea that you think something is happening soon.
I do. Why are the countries talking about, why is President Trump talking about restarting our nuclear program again? Why that? Why all the saber rattling in Russia and Ukraine and even the Middle East using nukes? Why are the Iranians obsessed with getting nukes? So we know that nukes are a real deal. We also know that UFOs, UAPs are obsessed with nuclear bases. We broke the story with Robert Salas years ago when a 40-foot UFO appeared over the Maelstrom base. He came on the record. We broke the story. Okay, this is real investigative journalism. So this craft is over the gate. It turned off all 10 intercontinental ballistic missiles. How was it able to do that? They are obsessed with nukes. Where was Roswell? Roswell was the home of the 509th Bombing Group, so why should we care about that? The 509th Bombing Group dropped Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In my opinion, this is conjecture, but it's based on decades of research. They are waiting for a nuclear event. That's what they're waiting for. Because now because of the global internet system, the satellite. We are all connected with the internet, right? Like you and I right now. We're all connected. This is unprecedented in all of history. If you have a nuclear, think about this. Here's the payoff. If you have a nuclear event going off anywhere on this planet, the entire globe will focus on it. Everything shuts down. Everything shuts down. Airfare, everything shuts down. We all look at this thing and we are terrified. Are we looking at complete disaster? You have a nuke going off, it creates the greatest climate of fear mankind has ever experienced collectively. That's when they show up. Fear is the calling card of the kingdom of darkness. And
then they show up and they say, "We've come to bring you peace."
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
It's the Simpsons episode where Mr. Burns, they think he's an alien, and he says, "We bring you peace." Now that's the cliche that we've seen in a million Twilight Zone episodes or whatever it is, that they come to bring us peace. It's like the Twilight Zone episode where it says to serve man.
Serve man. One of my favorites.
We've come here to serve mankind. We have technology far beyond your technology, and to serve man turns out to be a cookbook, right? So you think that this is imminent?
Oh, it is. Absolutely. Look, I'm not a date setter, but I think we're close to something. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But this thing is accelerating. This whole thing is accelerating. It's headed towards some sort of a climax. And now, of course, with AI thrown into the mix, the average Joe in the street can't tell what's reality and what's fabrication.
Yeah.
And that is very problematic.
Well, listen, I know you're out of time. We've got to have you back because obviously, every time I have you on, I think I just want to keep talking. So lamarzulli.com. The book is Rungs of Disclosure. LA, really just thank you so much for coming on. Forgive me for interrupting. I just want my audience to be tracking with you.
No,
because this is actually very important stuff. God bless you.
How about you? Dr. Adrian, guys.
Thank you so much.
All righty. Take care. Folks, if you have not seen my take on the film Age of Disclosure, please, it's right up here on our YouTube channel. You need to watch that. You need to watch that. I'm going to follow it up this week with another show, basically on what happens if Donald Trump, our president, announces formally, does a press conference, comes out of the White House, Rose Garden or whatever, and basically says, we're not alone. There is life elsewhere in the universe. You're going to want to see that. Meanwhile, Black Friday is coming. We've got sales, members only, 50% off everything in the store. Check it out. Thanks for coming here. Consider becoming a member. We're up to 262,000 subscribers. Thank you, subscribers. Thank you so much for coming here. We do a new show every single day. Don't wait for YouTube to tell you. 7 days a week, 365. The times are absolutely unprecedented. That's why I'm here. Thanks for watching, folks. God bless.